Hi, welcome to Fire Mountain Gems and Beads Jewelry Making Studio. I'm Christi Friesen, and today I want to help you make something that's really a lot of fun. It's called Sgrafito. And all Sgrafito means is scratch, so you know it's going to be easy. Sgrafito is actually an ancient technique, and it goes way back to classical times when buildings were scratched through the plaster to reveal the darker layer underneath to make wonderful, intricate designs. But look at how nicely this also makes happy little pendants. Isn't that lovely? It's very simple. You probably remember this technique back in grade school when you crayoned on a piece of paper, covered it with black paint, and scratched through. Same trick. We're going to use polymer clay this time and a needle tool, and you'll make a fun little pendant you can wear. The only things you're really going to need for this are a pendant. I recommend it because then you can pop your finished piece right in a nice squared off edge, and it looks very nice as a contrast with the scratching design. Some polymer clay. You'll need something in a light color and a dark color. I chose black and white because that's kind of classic, but you could use a dark blue or a dark purple. You're going to get that clay soft before you use it just by warming it up with your hands. Then there's just a tool that you'll want, needle tool, so you can scratch into the surface, and a cutting blade to cut your finished piece so that it will fit inside the bezel. Cutting blade has a very sharp edge, so please do keep that away from areas that can bleed. That really doesn't look very pretty on your finished piece. And finally, if you've got some, I always recommend this poly bonder as a way to secure your clay into the bezel. It goes right into the oven, makes it very super easy. Okay, prep is easy. Like I mentioned, all you've got to do is get that polymer clay warm in your hands, and then once you've got it warm enough, we're going to need it to be a sheet. I've chosen the dark first, that's the underlayer. And I can use a roller, or you can run it through a pasta machine. You can sit on it, but it's kind of irregular, so I really recommend something that you would roll. This is at the thickest setting of your pasta machine, which is probably about as thick as a quarter to a 50-cent piece right in there. And then your top layer should be something light, and it should be thin. I've run this through at almost the last setting of the machine, making it very, very thin. And see how thin that is? That's thinner than a dime. All right, so now all you do is you lay your bottom color on, and you put your top color right on top of that, and press the two together. Polymer clay sticks to itself when you push on it, so it should work just fine. And you can use your fingers to press out any little wayward bubbles. Now I'm going to take my bezel. This one's got a nice deep edge. Can you see that? Look how deep that is, and it's got a hole in the side too, which is really terrific. That lets you pop that in and have plenty of room to work with. Take that and just press it into your clay. This will give you boundaries. Everybody needs boundaries. That will show you where you can put your scratching, so all the fun bits aren't outside of your border. And I'm just going to freeform it. You know, you can make patterns, you can make flowers. I like flowers because you can start with that nice little round circled daisy. That always looks good. Now you notice that as I'm scratching this, let me see if you can see that a little bit better. It's got little crunchy edges that are sticking up. That's okay. That's part of the fun of the look. It should be nice and scratchy and rough when you're done. And also notice that as I scratch through here, the under dark color is slightly revealed. This is a subtle technique. Don't worry if you don't see a lot of black lines. That's part of the fun. There's shadow and little darkness sneaking out. That means people are going to have to get right up and take a look at it, and then they can tell you how awesome you are. So that's always a good thing. All right, so once you've made as many petals as you like, you could put other textures. Sometimes some pokes in the middle of your flower look just terrific. Once you like that, and then it's time to cut it out. Cut it out. Take your blade, pointy side down, and trim. And you want to trim to the inside of that margin that you made because that was the whole bezel. So you're going to want to go on the inside of that. All right, so see how I'm just kind of cutting and peeling away those sections? I find that works better than just trying to slice your blade through like you're carving meat. So let's just get that right on the edge and pull it away. Now you've got a nice little square that probably will fit right in. It's always better to try and make it a little bit big and adjust by cutting more than just go crazy nuts and then it doesn't fit very well. I'm going to just see how this works. Okay, it looks like it's going to fit in almost. Let's trim just a tiny bit more right there. There's not really any way to do that better, just trial and error. And then once it feels like it's going to fit in, oh, we are so close. And trim that little end off and we should have it. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Perfect. All right, so now I'm going to take my poly bonder glue and I'm put just a little dab on there. That will help that stay in there. nice and permanently. You can also glue it in when it's all done, but I kind of like to do it so that the glue in the oven makes the two really join. So you just press that down in, press gently. You don't want to get rid of all the scratches that you just did. Doesn't that look awesome? Now on this particular bezel, you'll notice that there's a hole on the side so that you can string it. You can just run your needle tool right through that hole and open that up again so that you can put your string or your chain or your jump rings or whatever through there. All right, doesn't that look good? Don't you want to make more? It is great fun, isn't it? Let me tell you what to do now. Polymer clay does not air dry, so it's got to get hot. Your home oven works perfectly. Just follow the directions on the package of clay that you have. It'll tell you everything you need to do. Usually you preheat your oven to the recommended temperature, pop that baby in there for 30 minutes, and then take it out when it's cool. Don't touch that while it's still hot. Remember, that's metal. Then you can show it off to your friends. You don't need to seal it or anything. It's good to go, just as it is. Isn't that a fun thing to do? There's a lot of little fun things to do over here on this site. I hope you'll look at some of the other tutorials. And then don't also forget that everything we just used to make this project, the polymer clay, the little bezels, the tools, they're all available right here at firemountaingems.com.